Hello, my name is Andrew and welcome to my stream. And right now I'm trying to solve one of the problems I have. It's automation of some video generations. So this is a series of streams regarding about solving that problem. So let me just scroll to the very beginning. Here is the problem. I need to automate a few things made by script. That script has at least 3 interactions, but unfortunately it requires my presence and I'm not happy about it. And the solution would be quite straightforward. It's to make some sort of pipelines which will solve this problem. I used to have this thing, I think, 6 years ago. It was in Python. Fortunately, I have updated what I wanted. There are requirements, and this is an example of the thing I would like to do. There will be a few pipelines, a few processes, and I'll start with pretty straightforward one. It's get text, get approve for this text, and then make magic. After magic happens, it sends me approve, and if I approve, it will upload it to YouTube or wherever I want. And there is architecture I defined a few streams ago. The perfect case, it's just a binary with maybe one config, or binary with access to shared storage where it can find configs, etc. Also, recently I got interesting idea. What if pipeline request sends pipeline as an input, just an interface, and then workers can pass each other whole pipeline as well as stage which must be performed. For example, one of workers may not have access to Telegram because it's behind a firewall. That means it can find another worker. Discover mechanism is provided by multicast DNS. It's in here. That's how worker discover each other. So he can find another worker able to do it, and then it can say, okay, worker, you have this big pipeline, but your step is number 11, and this is data to send there. That's the idea. And I have implemented a lot of things, but for now I've stopped at... Oh yes, at last stream I have updated code to new storage interface, and I think I have stuck at a few interface storage. It was done. Tests are working. Oh yes, there was one test which I can find in unit test block HTTP test. Yeah, this one. There was output check. This test. So this test main thing is to check that block after processing can save result correctly. It means oh, it's slow. It means here I must have connection to pipeline as well as block, etc. So the idea was to provide some sort of hierarchy for for example, I have pipeline, then I have blocks. It's just an interface. But what's important that each of this block is not a block itself, but a link to data. This one, I have it here. Yes. So each block is this thing. Let's remove some text. And that thing has mapping to actual block with ID OpenAI chat completion to this structure. So each block has mapping. That means this portion of data, it's mutable, obviously, but it has connection to immutable data. And I used to schedule a thing named block detection. So it means if some block in the pipeline, for example, sent to Telegram for moderation, if it's not detected in this worker, it should not process further. So this worker should discover. And that's where I have implemented one thing. I scheduled it for detection, but today I have done it. It's in, yeah, here. So I have a custom interface for detection. Each block may detect that it can process data on this hardware or conditions. So I have made a config file here. I have appended config with some custom information about what conditions for each block. For example, HTTP request should say that it is possible to process data only in case if it has connection to, for example, Google. With that said, I can check connection to wherever I want. But it's also important that another block responsible for OpenAI will have connection to OpenAI API. That's quite easy and simple check, but to be honest, it should also be appended with authentication. For example, if this worker has outdated credentials, it means it should not be able to do requests to some systems. It should pass data to another block, to another worker. That's what I would like to do, but for now, let's keep it as a plan. And what I wanted to do today is to proceed this part, to extend it with a timer which will schedule detection. For example, why it's needed. Let's assume there was something happening in Wi-Fi, which is from ISP, Internet Service Provider. Let's assume it just blinked. That means that the block responsible for HTTP communication, for example, it can check that this error was temporary, or some of these workers can mark blocks as not available, just like here. And here I'm checking at the startup of this binary that block has committed. It checks these checks, and the block marked itself as available. But through the lifetime of this binary, it should also proceed to make this check like once a minute, for example, or once a minute would be fine. So I need to attach new routine, schedule block detection, as well as now it comes to quite complicated theme. What if something happened while processing block? For example, where is it? Here. This process, it checks what happened, but it calls the function. I think it's here. Yeah, this one is process. So it's HTTP request, and this is the body of this function. So what if something happened due to runtime? Should we retry or not? What are the rules of this retry? Is it a circuit breaker or something else? So we should include block runtime errors handling must respect block detection and let's do it a bit different. Block detection must respect block runtime. Yeah, that would be correct. So I will have coroutine which accepts a few things. Let me check one more thing. Block registry has one instance of block. It doesn't have so detect blocks should be executed once. Yes, when I call new block registry, it makes it. So let me check if new block registry is called anywhere except. Yeah, there is a singleton. That's awesome. So in for every request which comes to API, there will be one instance of block registry and one instance of blocks which has been detected or not. And since those things are, let's say, they have those timers, they can mark themselves as available or not for every request. That's correct. So in this case, let's describe what I want. I want registry, block registry to housekeep how to call it? Keep watching. First of all, block detection must be then each block must report to that guardian. Yeah, that's correct. So I want block registry to keep watching blocks. Block detection must be routine running in background. I wouldn't call it. Yes, this function should be running in background with some timer once a minute. Timer would be Each block process must report with successive fail. That is a place which will generate some problems because there are questions. Is fail what fatal, critical, let's call it fatal. And what's most important, how to describe config. So let's check the block named block HTTP. I have it right now. What is considered as a failure? First of all, let's describe it here. HTTP block. What is failure to that block? Let's say there are 3 errors. Retries. Yes. What's important? What failure is considered as fatal? In this case, it will be HTTP status code. 5 whatever. Yes, more than 500, as well as a few codes from 400s. For example, it's when resources exhausted, incorrect input. So there are a few codes. That depends on API which I'm calling. So this will be, let's make it 400 and 500. That would be quite straightforward. How to configure those failures? In this particular case, it can be either retry count or circuit breaker. There is another OpenAI chat completion. For example, another block which has a situation. For example, often it yields 429. It's when funds or credits are exhausted. So you need to top up the wallet in OpenAI to proceed. And it takes like 10 minutes. Okay, let's describe what I want. Is fail allowed to that block? Yes, it is allowed. Let's call, and by the way, it's also HTTP, so it will overlap with HTTP block, but not everywhere. Depending on model, it can be HTTP request input, but binary output because there is a file. Obviously, if there is a file to download, there will be consequences such as caching of that file, or it yields you a link, but there is nothing because this file is generating. So let's say HTTP status. Here is the problem. First of all, every 500 should be considered as fatal, but This one is also considered as fatal, so let's call it 400 and top up. Top up wallet, it's also critical. About retries. In my working experience, OpenAI sometimes has its downtimes. Let's call it so. They obviously report about it, but it takes like an hour sometimes for them to understand. At least it used to happen in this January 2024. Let's make it also a retry circuit break because it's inherited from HTTP. Another unique block sent to Telegram for moderation. I haven't scoped through this block, so I cannot say for sure, but since it's also inherited from a HTTP, let's call it to keep the same as above. Fetch text moderation decision. It's also a Telegram instance. Fetch text moderation decision. Yeah, it's the same. Next, stop pipeline. There is nothing to say about stop pipeline because it's stop pipeline. It's either called or not, fortunately. Not applicable. HTTP request, yes, nice. Then another HTTP request, beautiful image add text here. Image add text. It's my internal thing. So let's describe it. What is considered as critical? Is failure allowed for this block? No, because it's made using ImageMagick, and I think FFmpeg, yeah, not allowed. What failure is considered as fatal? Any. How to configure those failures? No need. Just panic. Beautiful. What else? Generate video from image. It's the same. By the way, let's make it. Okay, I'll keep it the same. Same as above. Because if some input data is missing, that means whole pipeline must shut down with errors and panics. It's quite straightforward. Add audio to video. Yep, the same. It should fail immediately in case of something happened. That means I have seen it failing, but it was like, I'm not sure, it was bitrate mismatch or the size of video slides in here. Generate video from image here. I think it was about one slide having different dimensions than another slide. It was when I'm making those things by hand. So right now there is no such problem because I'm generating the same dimensions image. Get audio to video is the same. Send video to Telegram for moderation. Yes, above. Fetch moderation, yep, it's the same. Fortunately, there is no big difference between those blocks. Stop pipeline the same. OpenAI request title from OpenAI. Yes, it's quite good because it's OpenAI. What's next? OpenAI request, another request. Oh, upload video to YouTube. Wait a second. Request text from OpenAI. Why do I upload video if I need credentials? It seems I have forgot a few steps in this pipeline. That's awesome. That means it was here somewhere. Yep. Request title, correct. Request text, upload. Aha. There are a few steps missing. Because this video should be sent to approve, as well as approve must be fetched. Let me check it here. Get title and text, correct. Step 10, add video and audio. Where is it? No, I have moved those steps. Beautiful. No need to append it. So this is what happened. I thought that upload to YouTube should happen after approve, but there are a few steps for upload to happen, and before those steps it's moderation of that video, so no problems. What else? Yep, upload video to YouTube. That's interesting moment, because a few days ago I have noted that video uploaded through API has less views than uploaded through manual UI interface. I think it's possible to share a few stuff. Let me check if it's possible. Switch account to this. Now I go to the studio. Yep, it happens. So how to make this screenshot? Alt and print screen. I don't have print screen. Function Windows spacebar. Chrome says, what? It says open inspector. What? Oh, they say you can print it. Beautiful. Google Chrome. Unbelievable. So, let me find it. New page. Window capture, yep. So I will make it bigger. Scroll it to one of the place. So here is interesting statistics. Some of the videos has quite good views as well as like rate. How much? Yeah, nice. There was a video about photo made by some NASA satellite. I think it's from the moon. But some of the videos has 11 views. I have uploaded this video using API. I think there are a few flags I forgot to check, but videos uploaded through UI have like 500 views, less than 1,000. It's not big numbers, but there is definitely a bigger, there is difference, and I would like to check it. That's the reason why I would like to upload those videos using UI as well as API. So it's possible that daily pipeline would be to generate 2, maybe 4 videos, upload half of them using API, upload half of them using my hands. So in this case, upload video to YouTube. Let's say what is critical error and what is not. There was a problem with number of uploads and API requests. Obviously, there will be n retries. It's HTTP call. But there is another thing named, I don't remember what error was about my limits. It's possible to be static thing 429 API exhaust. API request limit reached, yes. And then any should be considered as critical. And since it's valuable resource, it must be having some hard-coded numbers of retries. Let's say 3. Yep, that would be correct. So this is what I would like to do. And config I made in here. It contains a few things named conditions, how to detect, and it is time to implement another feature I used to mark as to do somewhere in here, I think. To do implement transport with timeout from config. Yep, that's exactly what I need to do. So I have HTTP request, there is detector, but now it's time to say it's not retry, it's not resilience, but reliability. That would be requested thing for any block, which means where is it? Block parent. Where is the interface of that block? Here it is. So each block has its schema, detection, process it, and other stuff. In this case, I have added detector conditions, and they are in registry here. Detector conditions. By the way, that's quite bad. I will have to rewrite it. And now each block must have a reliability section. Let's define it here and use that thing. So what I have for HTTP block, I have retries and status codes, as well as some sort of policy. So let's name it here. Policy. Policy. Let's start with classic retry. Oh, no. Policy retry and max retries. Yep, let's make it 3. What is it? Here is the problem I would like to avoid. By default, retry has some timeout, which is hard-coded. So when shit happens, consider to this config, I will have to wait 1 second, repeat. Wait 1 second, repeat. But what if someone's API will come back in 30 seconds? That's not okay. So there is retry policy named backoff. Backoff means I have 1 second. So when shit happens, I'll wait 1 second. When shit happens another time, I'll wait 2 seconds. When shit happens another time, I will have to wait not 3 but 6, I think, or 5 seconds. So it will be a sum of previous two values. 2 plus 2 plus 1. Yeah. So I'm not sure exactly how it was calculated, but that's like 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 30, and then 1 minute. That's how it used to be a while ago when I checked it. So let me consult with whatever. Firefox, hello. Yep, there is consult. And I'll say, what was it exactly timing? Was it factorial or decline all? Come on, another bullshit. Is it so complicated? Backoff stretch, yes. Max tries, max delay. There. No, minimum delay. Exponential. Scale factor. That's already too much. Yes, I like more as Fibonacci. Yeah, like, let's make it Fibonacci. Is it? Yeah, I think that would be correct. In here, I cannot just say retry delay. Policy. Retry. That's quite tough. And sub policy. Exponential backoff. No. I don't like this naming. That would be better. Exponential backoff as a strategy. Oh, by the way. No, as policy. Yeah, it will be quite descriptive what it's done. Also, let me check. Exponential backoff strategy calculator. Where is it? Okay, I'll do it a bit later. But for now, I need to define config. The next thing is to spend maybe 2 days to 1 day to think about this config, and then if I have no extra ideas about this interface, I'll implement it. But for now, we must define it. Max retries, retry delay. Yes, let's make it 5 maximum retries would be correct. Retry delay 1, that also is correct. So, what else HTTP block has? Status code. That is a problem because each different service has some predefined things. For example, OpenAI has a notification about your wallet is 0 as HTTP code 429. But Google YouTube AI, it's similar thing, but it's the same code, I think. But they say politely, API request limit reached. It's time to upgrade your account. Let's keep it quite straightforward. Retry codes. As well. Yeah, let's make it this one. Yeah, it will be correct. Every error related to server error, it's retry. Every error related to some logic, 400 whatever, it's not retry. What is a fail? Okay. OpenAI chat completion, it's the same HTTP. Let me turn off one thing. So OpenAI chat completion is the same HTTP thing. So I can copy paste it. Yep. And it's important to let's declare one more thing. It's image at text. It's a block which is not implemented yet, but what's important, policy none. So policy should be false, which means there is no policy, no need to retry anything. Conditions. What to say about conditions? In order to manipulate with images, I need to have image magic. Yep. How to say it? Conditions. Let's add a comment. Library bindings. Yep, that will be another milestone. To check it, it might be quite painful because this binary will have bindings for image magic, but if one of my machines does not have it, magic, Yep, that's correct. There will be problems. However, if I include it to binary, let's do it later. So this is what I've done. Tests. Obviously, there are no tests, sorry. So let's make config. Config go. Here it is. So each block has block config. It's here detector. And it's time to add a reliability section. Let's call it block reliability. Block config reliability, yep. And what kind of reliability I have? And here it has some predefined lists. And here, right now, I don't know what it is. Maybe it will be it's not pill, but image magic. Or even better, libraries, which is array of libraries which necessary for this thing. Also, let me check my Python project because I think it used something else. Slide generator and create clip, text clip. Text clip, it's from MoviePy library, which is using what? NumPy. So let me open Firefox. So I have my Py. Oh, not my Py, come on. MoviePy. This is the editor I'm using in script right now. And this is how I used to work with it. What's most important is this. That's the way I used to add data. But what's important, Golang should not have something like this. MoviePy, is it available for Golang? They use FFmpeg. Cut video, it's also FFmpeg. So I will have to use another library, obviously. I'll need to find it. Otherwise, it's just wrapper on top of FFmpeg as well as ImageMagick, but I think they are close. Let's do it FFmpeg. And it is time when some of binaries, for example, where is that image? Pictures. Yep. So I have 2 laptops. Both should have ImageMagick available, but I also have another device. This one is Raspberry Pi. Unfortunately, SD card doesn't work. It seems to be corrupted because every time I write Raspberry Pi OS, it yields validation error. Something was not written correctly. So this device definitely will not have any FFmpeg. It will be tough to generate videos on this device, but I'll try it eventually. So this block image and text will be some sort of milestone where I will have to implement block, how to say it, hop off worker communication. So HTTP can be done in any hardware, to be honest, but requirement is endpoint must be available. Image resize as well as video operations, that's the place which will require me to work with API interfaces for inter-worker communication, and that will yield me another problem. How can I trust that the worker which sends data to proceed pipeline is authentic? It's not someone's USB thumb in my device. So I will have to make something like mutual TLS in here. How to call it? This is what I will have to do. That's my market to do. Mutual TLS for worker communication. Inter. Worker communication. Yep. That's the way how we'll solve this situation. So regarding block config reliability, its properties should be interface. I don't know what will be inside, how it will be parsed, because its data will be passed to anything which has policy. So for example, reliability exponential pickoff. And this is a place where I will describe max retries, which is integer max retries, yes, retry delay, integer, yes, and retry codes, which is list of integer, yep. So and now this is a place where I'm not happy. I'm not happy with this. To parse it automatically, I will need to write new method on Marshall JSON. Let me check if it's, no, it's not here. So I will need to add a few things. Function b block config. Yep, on Marshall YAML. Yeah, that would be correct. And here I will have to write some code. So this part, reliability, will be passed to an Marshall function. The problem, I need first of all to understand what is strategy. I think it was done block registry, maybe here. I was doing this recently. but I forgot where. And no, there was new pipeline. Oh, here it is. Load catalog. So I made a method to unmarshal JSON for the pipeline itself, and it became quite big, unfortunately. So in this particular case, I will have to create some sort of alias. Then let's just repeat the thing. But it was data, and here it was Marshall YAML. What does unmarshal YAML accept? Golang package. Unmarshal. Input bytes, output interface. Let me check if I'm working with this particular module. YAML version 2, yes, this is described in documentation, so I need to update this method to work with this input and output. So I have input as whatever, let's go below. And let's try it again. No, wait a second. Return nil. The main problem would be, I think, here. So let's say aux contains some value. It's not alias but policy. Is it here? Block config reliability should contain only one property named policy. Maybe it should contain every field. No, it should not contain every field. So I'll explain it a bit later. But for now, let's panic at policy. Aux policy. block config reliability. This one would be correct. Return nil. Yes, it won't return anything. And there was a test for config. I think it was hello config test. Yeah. So right now, let's save this file. This test should fail. Oh no, it did not fail. Strange. That means this function didn't work. So I have detector. Detector is here. Let's add check. So it's not empty. I don't need detector, but I need policy. Reliability should not be empty. Let's run this test again. It's not empty. Okay, fine. The problem is there is panic. Oh, it might be not even working correctly. And no, it's not panicking. Beautiful. Whatever. It is important to check that reliability policy should be exponential backoff. It is here. Let's try. What if I made 3F? It should fail. Whoa, whoa, whoa. How does it work? Okay, I'll remove this code. It's me who is stupid. Equal. I'm checking it's not empty. Oh. And it failed. Yes. And here is. It is parsing correctly. Now it should pass. Good, good, good. Now I need to add another condition. I need to ensure that this policy, how to say it? So I have config for this policy, which means policy config. So policy config should equal to and let's make a few things, copy those values. And here it should be 5, 1, and let's say how much this one. For HTTP request block, list of int. What's not happy about it? It's not a type. What does it mean? Config. Oh, That should be correct. Types config, yes. Export, no, beautiful. Block config exponential backoff. Now it is correct. So this test should fail. It fails. It fails on this. No, 46. There is expected nil. I don't remember config for keys to run this test. Let's check test at cursor. Control, command C, control. Yeah, nice. It's time to make this working. It's not working. Beautiful. That means it's time to come back to this function, uncomment it, and run it again. It should panic. And it is not panicking. So that means I need to write that's good. That means, what if I do panic here? I'm afraid it's not coming here, and panic implement me. Yes, it comes here. Beautiful. So I have a problem. I'm marshalling it to aux, which is correct. Then I'm checking BCR policy, which is absolutely incorrect. It's aux policy, because I'm unmarshalling it to aux. Now I'm checking if aux policy, then aux policy config, that would be correct. And now I need to check one moment from data classes pipeline. So in here, I must say BCR policy. That would be correct. Now, I would be surprised if this test works. Yes, it's not working. So what I have here, reliability, it was empty. Which means the reliability itself was not parsed. Maybe it's my problem because I could have made a typo. No, I did not. So detector, it's here. Reliability. It's here as well. JSON's empty. Yes. I called it reliability. Yes. And there is block config reliability. Beautiful. It has policy and policy config, which is empty by default. So this test didn't get any reliability. Okay, why? By the way, let me do another thing. I'll comment this thing. I'm afraid there is a problem with pointer. Yes, it seems so. So, in here, there is policy, there is reliability, everything is correct. Test result didn't report any output. Let's try it again. Yes. Line 46. It's first line where error happened. But when I bring it back, it will fail everything. So I will start having errors here. Yes, beautiful. That means this unmarshal itself has some problems. First of all, let's do following. I don't need this alias at all. I need to unmarshal into BCR itself. Now in here I can say BCR policy as well as policy config. Now I don't need this as well. Let's try. There is recursion. Of course, it calls. Let's bring it back. Is it possible that error is here? No. By the way, why it's okay. Also another problem. This is function. I think there is a problem with the signature of this function because documentation used to say on Marshall YAML it is having a few properties. Fox. So here what is used to say on Marshall in byte out interface. So I'm using go back in YAML v2. Yes, this is the library. The only problem could be if I'm working with something outdated. I didn't like this one because unmarshal it's a function. Why do I call it here? I mean, Copilot decided to do it, obviously, but why is it going here as well as aux policy? Let's do this. Return. And yes, the same. So aux should have policy if I panic it. Policy. That should be correct. Oh no, it doesn't have. By the way, why it's recovered? Don't mind. I'll do it later because it sounds like misunderstanding of this thing, because regular stuff like Marshall has input, output, etc. somehow. So this is classic interface. And Marshall, whatever I have data is byte. In here it's function, which is definitely not fine. I'll try to do one last attempt. I'll copy paste it from documentation. And Marshall. Something is not fine. So I have a function. I have alias, which inherits all the fields such as policy. That's all I need. The problem. Here I say use this policy. Let's do classic. If this is empty, then there is problem with this function named Marshall, unmarshal. It is empty, beautiful. The problem is in this function as well as signature. What can I do? Let's also, because there is another call, let's run it again. And it's also empty, beautiful. So this function and Marshall has problems. obviously BCR should be empty as well. Yes, it is empty. Which means if I go to documentation and use unmarshal, documentation, marshal strict as well as, where is it? YAML. Oh, here it is. New decoder. Then I decode it. Correct. Let's go. It's just on Marshall. So let's go to the code and check on Marshall YAML. Aha, there is a function. So it's not what I wanted, but okay. Yeah, love this. What's wrong? Ah, it's clipboard. Come on. Where is my config test? Panic didn't happen. That's already small victory. Is it possible that it comes to alias? I mean, debugging. This code should be working. I'm unmarshalling things into aux itself, then I must print it, but it's empty for some reason. Ah, wait a second. Could it be me? So I have config blocks. There is detector and reliability. This code itself says there is no reliability. Block config reliability. It's possibly me again. So if I remove this code, everything works except the last condition. That means I need to write rules of reliability parsing here. Obviously. I got the problem. So, what if to check another another thing? So I have this policy and some number of fields, as well as here policy and number of fields, but in here I have the same policy, but there's nothing. What if I move it to one structure? Like it's now, but okay. I have overtime the stream for 24 minutes already. Sorry that mess happened. I'll figure out how to declare different classes. I mean, I will declare it, but I will have to do something like this, unmarshal YAML with custom rules, such as this rule. In case of something happened, like this exponential backoff, there will be config related to exponential backoff. Let's assume I have different reliability policy for block named simple retry. Oh, by the way, here it is, policy false. None. Here. That means there will be nothing. It will be empty, which is correct. So that's what I'll try to do. And my plan would be a bit different, obviously. Next stream will be September 4th. First of all, config. Fortunately, I made a test for reliability, which means all I need is to write the code. But also I would need to do this. Block registry. How to call it? Housekeeper. Block registry watcher. Yeah. This will be done quite fast because at least I do have an understanding what is necessary. So it will be in here. I say new block registry. Okay. This new registry has detect blocks, but this detect blocks has new block HTTP, and I do not need to reinitialize it, whatever. I can run simply go func. Maybe I don't need to make it go func. I can run it like channel. I don't need a channel, by the way. Okay. And here I can say registry. And then here I can say, which is a pointer to block register. I don't need any config. I need timeout. This is what Copilot suggests. It's not okay. There is ticker. Let me check. Hasn't it been updated? Also, I was wondering, there is a context background here. What's important is that something happens in background. Background returns non-nil context. It is never cancelled, has no values and no deadline. It's typically used for the main function tests. Okay. I think I had it here as well. Oops. So there is a function which runs in background, and I can simply wait it. I would like to utilize it later. But for now, we can do this. 1 minute, yes, that is correct. Now for select ticker, detect blocks. Yes, that's all. That's the watcher. Obviously, I will have to rewrite it because detect blocks makes new blocks, as well as block detector itself. It's used only in this function. Obviously, it should be used in register itself. In here, blocks. What was that block? Here. In here, I should say it as a blocks detector. Make. Come on. Yes, that's correct. And then here, is there mutex? Yes, there is mutex. It's good. That means detect blocks. It runs mutex, it locks itself, runs the thing, and then here I should say, first of all, it's br blocks detector, and here I should iterate through this br blocks detector. And then mutex unlocks when all blocks has been checked. That's what happens. But in this case, once a minute, this registry must be locked, which means bear lock. It's not bear, it's registry. Unlock. And while there is detection happening, by default it's marked as not available, then checks executed, and this is the function for housekeeping. What's not happy should use range instead of for what? No. Explain. I can range through this ticker itself. But there is a problem. It's okay. What happens if ticker is here? I have worker. which has graceful shutdown. Here it is, defer worker shutdown. So when worker shuts itself down in here, it should have a channel. How to say it's enough. Case. Registry should have a closed channel. In here, let's make it channel structure. In here I should say make channel structure, that's correct. And in here I should simply I think it should be this one. Now it is not, yes. And now I need to implement a method for this registry. Let's turn it off. What did it suggest? Yes, that's correct. The registry has close method. Beautiful. I'm not happy about it, but that's what we have. That draft thing, obviously I'll rewrite it to something sensible, something what makes sense. But that's housekeeping itself. Since this function has been covered with tests, I will need to figure out how to cover with tests this, because to test with 1 minute it's definitely not okay. This should be a config variable. Where should I say? Here. Where is blocks? Here it is, blocks map string block config. Each of these things should have on detector conditions, maybe check interval. That should be correct. In here I can say, where is it, block config detector, that's correct, conditions, and then check interval, which is time duration, check interval, JSON empty. And now I need to go to config test here. Where is then detector conditions? Okay. I need to check that interval equals time duration. So this should not have any errors. Let me check. Time duration has no errors. So beautiful. And that means I can go to, where was it? Block registry. Here. I need to rewrite this function because this is a ticker for global check. Once a minute, run these checks. That's not okay. Beautiful. I'm happy with it because close method no longer needed, as well as that ugly channel. Sorry, channel, I don't need you. It's here. This detector will have to become a call. New detector. New HTTP detector, or even better, new detector HTTP, which will accept. It will accept client URL as well as HTTP request. Oh, by the way, what am I doing? Yeah. This one, let's comment it. So I will have to implement this method because it's absent. And detector HTTP, where are you? Here. So I have this thing. It's simple type, which has one detect call, but there is nothing inside. That's a problem, because this detect method should respect config values. And that's one of the reasons why I want to make it detector HTTP, pass the client, pass maybe. Oh, it's not removing this. What? Seems my VS Code is done today. So I need to pass detector values. What's going on? Why it's not? Keyboard is not working. This method is absent. So I will need to pass detector from config. And then I don't need these two lines. Okay, that's to reload. Yes, now it works. So I will need to pass detector, and that's all. And then this detector func new p. This HTTP will have a client, which is HTTP client, and then not URL but config block config detector, or even better, block config, because it must respect reliability. Now I can say there is URL which comes from this block config detector conditions URL. Yes. And this client, there is a problem. I can remove this. I don't need this as well. Ta-da! Oh, it's red. It should not be red. Is it pointer? config, block config. Yes, obviously. So there is a problem. In here I have block config itself, which includes detector, which is fine, and reliability. So the problem. I would like to instantiate this detect method with all reliability settings. For example, if reliability has retry, detect must respect it. It must use those retry. But it's just one part of logic. What if I don't want? What if I don't want to use reliability? I don't need exponential backoff in detector. That means, let's do it. Why am I doing it? Because it's less code and less problems in future. Detector, and here I can say detector config. Yeah, it will be less problems. Let's run this test. That's awesome, that's good, but it was block HTTP, block registry test. Where is it? Block registry test here. It works. Run all failed tests. I hope it will fail. No, it wasn't failing. Okay. That means block registry, new block registry. Yes. Detect blocks is the function I have updated. So it works. So the idea would be a bit interesting to pass config detection values, these values, into detector itself. So new detector HTTP right now it yields detector itself, but what if it will also start block detection in background? That means if this block has been detected here, and here I have that. So I would like to delegate this ugly thing into detector interface itself. So that means I have detector interface here. Come on. Yeah. There is method named detect. Maybe it is time to make another method. Let's call it. It is here. Yeah, detect. Watch. Or how did I call it in plan? Block registry watcher. Watch. Let's call it watch. Which does nothing. To be honest, it must run this. So in a cycle, it should simply run this function, detect. Maybe it should be block start, or even better, detect BG. That would be better. So on here I say that block has method name detector, and in here I can say detecting background block detector. So that means where is it? Block parent, this one. Yes, that's correct, but this should be executed in timeout, in timer. Let's ask Copilot to run it. By the way, I forgot one more thing. It's about config. So let's keep it as is. There is a problem. I think it can be done here. So I have detector. In here I say, okay, there is detector, but detector itself, it has no access to config. Yes. Why not to make it? Which is config block config detector. Yes, and then here I can say config. Oh, it's getting to, it's making, I want to make it an interface method named set block config or set detector config in order not to forget, but since it's part of constructor, let's keep it as a part of constructor. In here I can say new detector HTTP, detector config, yes, that's correct. Detect in background. Okay, let's go to this method, and particularly this. That's why I wanted to make it as a part of interface, because in here I can say only one thing. There is a block. There is nothing related to what the hell it is. In here, set block. That is correct. Because it should also have another method. Which brings me to this. And now everything looks good, because in here I can say detect timer equals the here, yes, check interval. Also I can say detector config. Maybe I should make it as a timer. No, it was time new ticker. Yes. And in here I can say for select new ticker not set available, but detect set available detect. By the way, why should I not? Yes, make it. No need to make it. That would be correct. Also, it is possible that it will be race. So I need to pass here b and d. So on here I call it test/b and b detect d. Another problem. Let me check. Set available should have locker inside. Lock. Let me check. Where is it? Block parent. Where are you? Block parent. It has mutex. That's already a good sign. Available. Yes, there is mutex. So there should not be any race conditions. So in this case, where is this registry? Tick panic non-positive interval. Beautiful. It's an interface. Check interval, because one of my blocks has its negative. Let's make it by default time hour. So I go back to the test. It worked. It was one of config. Let's leave it here because I will eventually find this test and it will fail. So detecting background should also have another thing named case. Detector. Each detector should have a, let's call it lock detector. Let's rename it. It should method named, where is this background? Here. Detecting background, it starts. I mean, it should have closed channel. That's what it should have. It should have closed channel to exit this routine, because the sticker itself is eternal. I think there is a method to stop it. Ticker stop. Yeah, there is ticker stop. Beautiful. So it is possible to block parent detecting background to pass the sticker somewhere in order to understand that when server goes down, it should kill stop. It should stop every block detector running in background. Maybe I should create some global map of tickers and then simply call it stop somewhere globally. So it's just a question of implementation. For now, I don't think there will be any problem except serialization. That's what I'm going to do tomorrow and maybe half of Wednesday. I need to tidy this code. Right now it's a bit of mess in there. But let's say registry watcher is 50% completed. Let's say 30%, there are no tests. This crazy thing must be tested. And one of the reasons why I decided to move it to config, I have main test. Here it is. And there are detectors. Where is it? Here. Each detector has its URL, which means when tests start up, each blocks, I have 18 blocks, will have to execute some HTTP requests. This is the reason when I need to implement some sort of mocks. I need to provide endpoints which will yield some status code depending on requesting stuff. For example, for each block which config contains URL, I simply set up new URL with correct response code and then say, okay, config, this block, this URL will be pointing to localhost. And magic happens. This is the reason where this is a place where I will also provide something like config blocks block ID detection timeout, let's say 1 millisecond, time duration, time second. Yeah. So I might provide it quite low timeouts, maybe registry checks, and then I will be able to check how this function works by making a test which checks who requested this unique URL. So right now it yields a server URL. It's possible for me to implement a channel inside, and then I can yield something to the channel, for example, who called it, or when it was called, whatever. And the test will check, for example, number of requests, which should be equal to number of this ticker, for example. That's how I can test background detection. The detector has URL, it made 10 checks, and I need to check that this HTTP, where is it? Yes, this server managed to write header 10 times, for example, or I can run, yes, request URL string. I can send something into there, or maybe request header host. Oh, there is a host. Nice. I can write host which requested this URL and test. That's how I'm going to test it. It will be 2 days. That's all for now. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful adventure of pain and suffering. I hope to finish it because key concepts, it's about processing and worker passing data to another worker, and that's the only problem I might encounter. And that's all. Thank you. Bye bye. Where is my OBS?